call this meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Tonight will be following the published and posted agenda. We will be recorded for future viewing and also live via Chelmsford Telemedia. We're also available via Zoom this evening. The first item on the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes from our February 12th, 2026 meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to review them?
Yes.
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 Do you have a motion?
A motion to accept them.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Aye.
Okay. Oh, that's right, we have to do a.
Have to do a roll call.
We have to roll call
Yeah.
because Cindy is on Zoom with us this evening. So, Dave,
Excuse-
we have to do a roll call vote because Cindy's on Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, I approve it.
Sam,
Aye.
Cindy,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Blaine,
Aye.
one aye, and then your
I
abstention.
abstain, yeah.
All right, thank you. Moving along, we have the presentation, review, and discussion of the fiscal year 27 budget for the Cemetery Commission. With us this evening, we have David Boyle, who I believe is now presenting. Dave, is that correct?
I think you want the expert.
Okay. All right.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So not a whole bunch of changes with the cemetery budget. The personnel services, nothing changes. As far as the expenses, basically 0.87, so it's really not much of anything. With personnel, that's basically where the changes are. It's just the step raises for everyone. As you look at the budget, I believe everybody has a copy, Dave?
We do, and I'll have a
Yeah.
copy up online in a second as well.
So basically, it was just kind of in the expense budget, just kind of moving some stuff around. I'm still a board of director for Mass Cemetery Association, and I'm still past president of New England Cemetery Association. So just kind of moving 350 back and forth there. Really, other than that, it is gas heat.
Outlays of the fence.
The outlay is the fence. Here, if you see down the bottom there, the outlay, that's the fence there. There's 3 years left to that. I have 21 sections of fence left to go, and that entire fence at Pine Ridge Cemetery will have been restored.
Any questions?
That's what the outlay would be. I don't think there's anything. Like I said, on the personnel side, it's just the step.
I think you should be commended on your expenses. If you look at them, they literally didn't go up at all year over year, hardly at all. I think that's just a good job.
Try to keep it in line best I can. The guys don't like it, but
Population's growing.
Yeah.
I'm not going there.
No, no,
I
no.
wasn't
Yeah.
gonna go there.
No.
That's okay. It's true. So, anybody has any questions?
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Dave.
Pretty
Appreciate it.
straightforward.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dave.
Take care.
Next on the agenda this evening, we have a presentation, review, and discussion of fiscal year 27 budget for the senior center. And with us this evening via Zoom, we have Deborah Siriani, our Human Service Director for the Council on Aging. So, good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
For you this
Thanks
Deb.
for having me. Basically, our budget is personnel-driven increases for steps and longevity. There was a surprise since last fall when I first presented. We have a longtime employee is retiring, so it's actually down a bit from what I had expected by about $10,000. We hired a newer person who started this week, training with her, and then we'll be starting next week alone for the social services coordinator. And Elena Deere was here for 30 years, and so we'll sadly be saying goodbye to her. And so we won't have to pay for any longevity for her, and the new person is making less. So there'll be a little bit less than we had expected for our personnel budget. Otherwise, just steps. We do need an increase in our electric bill budget. I think everybody's probably saying that, right? Our gas has gone down considerably in the past few years, but our electric bill has gone up, and we have a new system, which is, I guess, a hot air blowing system. So it costs more electricity wise. We checked with the DPW and made sure that it wasn't anything in our system that was like a leak or a problem that we were that was coming from usage issues, but no, it's just the rate. It's just how it is. So that's to be expected. So that will have to go up to pay our bills. We have had the $12,000 I took off last year for the expenses. We're continuing to keep off of the general fund by using our healthy revolving funds. We have lots of buckets, I tell David when we have our meeting. So we have grants and contracts, and we have donations, and we have fee-based programs. And so a lot of those expenses we can cover with our revolving accounts. So that's still so that's keeping our expense budget down. We've been very lucky to have very good support from the Friends of the Senior Center. They've donated over $70,000 this year already and are offering more. So we're very lucky to have that, and they pay for programming and improvements for seniors, but not staffing. So that's why we still need to ask for the personnel increase. And that's about it. I don't think, the capital outlay I brought down because it was for some, last year I had asked for it to be up to replace some fire doors, and then we won't need that this year, again, that same amount. And then the vehicle maintenance is down because we have 2 brand new vans and 2 brand new electric vehicles. So we have, we lease from LRTA with our contract from them. So we got 2 new vehicles from that contract, and handicap accessible lift vehicles, vans, and we got, out of ARPA funds, we got 2 new electric vehicles from last year from the town manager, helped us out. So yeah, I don't expect a whole lot of maintenance issues, knock on wood. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
So you've got,
I just have a comment. I reached out to Darlene because there are a lot of these accounts are not part of the budget. And she wrote me back that there are sufficient funding balances on all these revolving accounts. So they're not part of this budget, but they could end up in this budget if something went wrong, which is not going to happen. This lady does a great job.
You're sweet, thank you.
so just curious in terms of how you're seeing utilization and community engaging. Is it sort of flat, up, down?
Oh, gosh, actually, as part of the Civics Academy presentation, I did a little slideshow, and looking at our data from the last 2 years, we have 862 new members who have registered in the last 2 years. So that's close to 2 new people every day we're open. And that's just people who are registered. A lot of people just walk in. And if you look at our parking lot, about 3 times a week, we're packed and people are circling. So we have a very busy senior center and high engagement. So
And you attract people from other towns as well, is that correct?
very much so. Yep, yep. yeah, we're open, and we have, well, this was shocking to me, but I actually looked it up in our database. We have people from 26 different towns who come visit our center. So I was shocked by that, actually, and had to go look and like, is
That's
is
an
that true?
endorsement.
Yeah, that is true. But we pride ourselves in being an open and welcoming community, and so I think it adds a lot to the general vibe of the place that everyone's welcome. So I think that's added a lot to us. And of course, the transportation and Meals on Wheels and certain programming is senior tax worker program that we manage is only for seniors in Chelmsford. So, we do make sure we take care of Chelmsford seniors too, but it's a hub of activity.
All right. Any other questions? All right, Deb, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Right?
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Moving right along, we have a presentation, review, and discussion of the fiscal year 27 budget for the fire department. With us this evening, we have the chief, Gary Ryan.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
You do have my presentation.
I do.
You do. I may go over what they've just done, so it'll be a little longer. So I hope everybody's doing well.
Oh, here we go.
And feel free to jump in with questions. It works better that way. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is a current look at our current state for fiscal 26. Currently, we have 60 uniform members. We have a vacant position due to retirement this past December, and one expected retirement in July. So we are in the process right now of trying to fill those vacancies. I do have 2 members who are going through the fire academy now, scheduled to graduate in May, but that is to fill vacancies from before. So it does take about a year to go through this process between going through the hiring process, getting an academy date, getting through the academy. But right now, we try to aggressively, with the manager's help, to anticipate when retirements are coming up to fill these vacancies. So, next slide, please. For fiscal 27, I'm proposing a budget of $7,748,513. For personnel, that is a personnel budget of $6,978,813, just a 0.14% increase. There is no labor agreement in place yet, so that is subject to change when a new agreement is made. For expenses, an expense budget of $768,700, an overall increase of over 5%. And one of the drivers, I know Deb talked about earlier, utilities, both natural gas and electricity, fire equipment repairs, vehicle maintenance, building maintenance. Those are the drivers behind our expenses. So an overall budget increase of 0.62%. But that maintains our existing staffing levels at 63.5. Next. Look at our organizational chart. We have 4 groups, or 4 units as we call them, each managed by a company officer, a captain, 13 firefighters assigned to each unit, a training captain, 2 fire prevention captains, and part-time support staff for fire prevention. Next, please. This is a look at our typical staffing and station configuration. This is going to change. So with closures of both 3 and 5, there's going to be some reconfiguration. So the staff members at Engine 3 will be moving to north on a temporary basis while the stations are being built. The firefighters from Engine 5 will be moving into the fire headquarters. So again, that is a temporary measure to get us through the completion of the stations, which is anticipated 18 months, I believe. So, again, if you have questions, just shout them out. Current look at our stations. We get the 5 stations. We will hit the 12-year mark in December for Engine 1, the fire headquarters. Engine 2, we will be at 5 years in December. Engine 3, 1970, 56 years. Engine 4 will now be our oldest station at 50 years old. And then Engine 5 will hit 60 years. So, and then we continue to make investments in our stations, the roofing, the flooring, appliances, equipment. So we do try to keep up with that stuff. Just a closer look onto the two stations that were replaced in Engine 3, built in 1970, built in 56 years old. That station is 2,748 square feet. We are vacating that station on April 1st. So both Engines 3 and 5 will be vacating and reassigning the staff. The bids, request for bids will be made available, I believe, next week. I know there's been a lot of emails this week. And general contractor bids are due on March 27th. So there's going to be a lot of movement over the next month. Next slide, please. Look at Engine 5, built in 66, 60 years old. It's 2,585 square feet. I want to bring that out because you'll see a little bit of a change when you see the new stations. Again, the new stations are due to be occupied at the end of 2027. That's if everything stays on schedule. And this is a look at the future. Look at the new Engine 3. It's one level. This building is, I told you before, the Engine 3 was 2,748. This is over 8,000 square feet. So when we design these buildings, when we sit down, we're looking at the needs of not only the firefighters today, safety equipment needs, but we're also trying to project into the next half century, 50 years. So this is one story. You go to the back of Engine 3, you do have two drive-through bays. The original plan, if some may recall, was to keep the apparatus bay, but that has changed. So this will give us larger room for Engine 3. And also in the back of the building itself is the opening to the gym. They actually will fold open, not only to get the equipment in, but also to, get ventilation during hot summertime. Next slide, please. Look at the apparatus bay, and no, the engine does not come with the station, from what I've been told. But again, I mentioned this is a larger apparatus bay. It's 54 feet long, 36 feet wide. So that gives us flexibility within the department. Currently, if we have to, and we've had this issue this year, where the ladder door broke, there's very limited options where we can reassign that ladder. Engine 4 is currently the only place. When these two stations are built, I will have options to put the ladder, if I have to, at different stations, because I'll have the room. I will have the door height, 14 feet, which we presently do not have. Also, we discussed when we met mutual aid. When we have our mutual aid partners come in, sometimes their trucks will not fit in at Engine 2 when they're covering, because the doors are about 10 feet. Now we will have the option to get them in to these stations. So especially during the winter that we just went through, and I just had some of those discussions with our mutual aid partners, that is a welcome flexibility that we will now have. So, next slide, please.
Actually, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Why would you have to have the mutual aid person in their vehicle, their truck, in your bay?
Because it's got water and it's a diesel engine. Diesels have to be warm. So if the trucks sit outside, and we get asked this question, if you go back to many years ago with 7 North Road, if the trucks were out for training, during this weather, we have to throttle them out. We keep the trucks running. So people are not gonna do it and say, hey, you left your trucks running. Well, it's because it's gotta be warm. It's got diesel engines, they have to run warm, and they have water in the tanks. So they can sit out for a small period of time, but not, during a winter like this, they have to be maintained and warm. So, but good question. Decon room, so both these stations will have dedicated gear in decon rooms, which they presently do not have. So that is a large safety investment in our firefighters, so very thankful for that. Also, the gear room has a separate ventilation by code.
Will it be any different than the fire station that we just renovated? The one in North Chelmsford? We renovated that.
There are some codes that are the same,
Yeah.
but when we get to Engine 5, I'll show you the difference, because we'll have an elevator, that because of ADA requirements now that are kicking, But a lot of the safety codes that we had back in 2021, we built Engine 2, will apply to these stations. So the separate ventilation room for Engine 2, for the gear room, that stays consistent. The size of the bedrooms stay consistent. So this is Engine 3, but this is a typical staffing room we'll have at both stations. So it's a large, as you can see, a large size kitchen and day room for the firefighters. So you try to, again, project out for the next 50 years. This is a look at a typical bunk room that you'll see at both stations. Those red panels, and I know Deb was on earlier, because I know they're putting the panels up at the senior center. Those are acoustical panels. The ceilings in the bedrooms are gonna be a little higher. So they put those panels in, so when they have the stational learning system, it won't bounce off the walls. It'll help absorb some of that, so the messages are clearer. And that was an issue when we first moved in at the fire headquarters. The speakers were set up high, so we had to remount these speakers. So a lot of thought has gone into the design of all these rooms. Next slide. This is a look at, this says engine 3, but this is kind of typical of what you'll see at engine 5. We were also fortunate back in 2021 when we did the engine 2 station to get a federal grant to help to help equip the gyms, $50,000, and we've also invested some money over the years for these stations. And again, that door, if you go back, that door will fold up. It's like a garage door. So it'll help facilitate getting the equipment in, and if it's very hot, it can open up to get some fresh air in. This is a look at the solar panels for engine 3. So both stations are going to comply with the green and stringent energy codes. So no fossil fuels. These will be electric-only buildings. And we're actually quite fortunate that we got supported with a grant to get solar panels in both these buildings. And if you go to the next slide, engine 3, in addition to the solar panels, engine 3 will also have geothermal heat pumps. So my thanks to the DPW director, the town manager, DPW staff for really working hard to get this grant. It's a $1 million grant. Competitive grant, so we got it from the Mass Department of Energy and Resources, but it also takes advantage about the Earth's constant temperature. So it doesn't generate heat, it transfers heat. So in the wintertime, it'll move heat through the pumps into the building to warm it up, and during the summertime, it will actually pull the heat down. So we're looking at solar panels on both buildings and geothermal for engine 3. So utility costs are very expensive, but hopefully we'll have a net zero building if everything goes right with this. So my thanks for everybody for really chasing this grant down. This is a look at engine 5. You can see engine 5 is 2 stories. It's 2 stories because it's a very tight lot.
Space.
Very tight lot. So to make this project happen, we had to go before the zoning board of approval. Zoning board for.
You have a fire pole?
No, we don't have a, that would add to the cost for that, but there's no fire pole. But if you want to see, we have it next door, so you can come by anytime. But that's, yeah, that is very expensive. There's only one company that does that, and that's in Massachusetts, by the way, so. But that, because of the tight lot, that is a 2-story station, and it's also over 8,000 square feet. You get the picture of it at night. The reason I have that in there, because big discussion for town meeting is light, the impact on our neighbors. So that is part of the design concept, to see how we, with the lighting, not only for us operationally, but also how it impacts our neighbors. So I figured I'd throw that in there. Next slide, this is a look at engine 5 from the back, but you can see how it cuts in. See how it tapers off? Mm-hmm. So it's very tight. So very limited. Again, 2 stories. We got the same thing, the apparatus bay opening in the back, and we got the gym opening that will fold open. Next slide. So this gives you a good visual of how tight that lot is. We are right on the neighbor's property. So we have been working with the neighbors, the town, the committee, to kind of address their needs, whether it's landscaping, fencing, and if you can see on the right-hand side, you can see the bedroom windows. They're angled out. It's like a sawtooth. So it's designed that way so it doesn't look straight onto the neighbor's property. So my thanks to the neighbors, because they showed up at the meetings. They were involved in this process, so quite frankly, we wouldn't have got the approval if we didn't have their backing and support, so my thanks to them. Next slide, that is the fire tower, as you can see. The reason I bring this up is the state is currently going through design phases to replace this. It's overloaded, so they need to add more equipment. So the first photo is from, as you can see, 1911 to 1918. It was replaced after that. I don't have a picture, but the one that you see, the temporary one, 1938, there was a hurricane that took the other one, heavily damaged the other one. So they put the temporary tower, if you see the one to the right, you see the temporary tower with the current one that we have today. Next slide, please. So this sits on an elevation of 350 feet. It is staffed by members of the Department of Conservation and Recreation. Those are our fire wardens. So they staffed this in the spring, the fall, and going back a couple years ago, well into the fall. And again, that observation room is a 10 by 10. On a clear day, you can see as far as Boston. But they are looking to replace that. So plans will hopefully be submitted sometime soon. So if you have any questions, let me know. I introduced this slide. I know we've talked about this important subject before, but I figured I would bring it up because firefighters have a 9% higher cancer rate diagnosis than the general public and a 14% higher rate of cancer-related deaths. But the town and our members in the union collaboratively have worked together over the years to try to work to address this safety issue. If you go to the next slide, I just wanted to bring some of our strategies that we have employed to kind of tackle this. Top left is Dr. Christine Candler. Dr. Candler is a dermatologist. Her brother was a firefighter who passed away from stage 4 cancer. So she has dedicated her life to coming to the fire stations, and we've had her many times to do free skin cancer screening. So many thanks to her. She's fantastic. Top right, January 2023, that is our training room. We set it up as a lab. We got the town funded over $17,000 with American Rescue Plan funds, ARPA funds, to do ultrasound cancer screenings. So again, we set up my thanks for the union for kind of collaborating. They set up the training room as a lab so the firefighters could get screened. So every member had a screening. Again, that was over $17,000. The bottom left, June of 2024, again with ARPA funds, the town spent over $250,000 so every member could have one set of gear of PFAS. PFAS is the forever chemicals. I know if you've been updated with those. So every member has a set of PFAS-free gear. And finally, the bottom right, that is esophageal cancer screening. The town just got a grant for $25,000 back in November for public safety, both police and fire, to go through that. And that was a fantastic opportunity for us. So I'm very mindful of the costs, but certainly thankful for the investment. So I figured I'd show that, so thank you. And thanks to the town. This next slide is kind of a public service announcement. The fire marshal's office is trying to get the announcement out there, so I figured I'd bring this up. So back in 2015, 16, the market was introduced to a 10-year sealed lithium battery. You didn't have to change your battery. You just put the detector up. It's good for 10 years. Well, now we've hit that lifespan. And we're running into this when people sell their homes. So we're asking people to check the back of their detector. There's a manufacturer's date on there. If it says 2016 or earlier, they have to replace it. So if there's any questions, you could always call us. We'd be happy to answer it. Look at our responses for over the years. We went up 2% from 2024. Medical calls went up 2.7%. Different categories: structure fires, vehicle fires, motor vehicle accidents, alarm responses, mutual aid. We were up. We probably had 5 mutual aid responses for fires. We started the year
There we go.
in 2024 with a 2-family house fire on Mount Pleasant, 2 fires in a mobile park, the Chelmsford Commons they call it. One, unfortunately, was fatal fire back in October, double fatality. We had the July 3rd fire at Bradford Road and another response on Dunstable Road. So if you take the total fire losses, it's over $1 million, but a large portion of that would be the 2-family on Mount Pleasant and that July 3rd fire at Bradford Road. Next slide, please. When you look at the 2025 responses, we average over 542 calls a month or 18 a day. The December, it's highlighted because the 619 calls that we've had, that is the highest amount, monthly amount that we've had in many, many years. If you go to the next slide, that is why. We had 435 medicals that month. There was a surge for flu and influenza. Yes, typically during the holidays you will see an uptick. You always do. Not like this year. The response calls, the emergency rooms were flooded. I was at one of the emergency rooms visiting somebody, and they were out in the hallways. They were just, and this is just not in this area, it's throughout the whole state. So, go to the next slide. Just a growth in our overall calls. If you go back to 2,000. This shows an overall increase in total calls of 43% to the 6,499 I just showed you. Medical calls up 151%. So, significant. Figured I introduced this topic because I get asked this question, which I should, and the manager. Why is the cost of apparatus escalating so high? And why is there a delay? So this past September, Congress held a hearing. The fire apparatus industry is highly consolidated. Private equity firms are going in, buying the smaller markets. And there are now three companies that control 80% of the fire apparatus industry. And those are the Rev Group, the Oshkosh Group, and Rosenblauer. And not only had they consolidated the market, but also vehicle maintenance. The licensed dealers were acquired as part of the consolidation, eliminate. So you have an increase in the trucks. So a truck in 2013, as it shows you, was about 500,000. Today, it's over $1 million. But also our vehicle maintenance costs have gone up because an example would be the Rev Group in 2017. They had 13 aftermarket sites to get these parts. Last year, they were down to 5. So that's why they were brought before Congress. Next slide. I know there's a lot here, but this kind of highlights what I'm trying to discuss. It's a very busy graphic. But in 2015, there was a firm called the American Industrial Partners, AIP they were called. They formed the conglomerate, the Rev Group. So the Rev Group, in 2016, acquired KME. KME was a big player, 70 years in the business, strong market share throughout the country. And that acquisition gave that Rev Group 44% of both the fire and ambulance. So it's not just fire, it's fire and ambulance market. And within 4 years, that Rev Group acquired Spartan, Schmiel, Forever, and Frontline. So a significant move to consolidate the marketplace. Next slide. So you see a cost, you see the escalation in the cost. You see that the aftermarket parts for repairs, because we're keeping these trucks longer, have gone up. But also the trend is the delay in the deliveries. In 2019, it was a year. We thought that was too long. We would take a year now. It's 3 years. So when the manager signed the contract for the last apparatus purchase back in 2024, it had a date of 2027. We're hopeful that we see that truck in 2027. So what are the recommendations? They're looking to initiate what they call a 6B study to understand the current market conditions, maybe examine the barriers to competition, explore tax-based incentives. And the last one there, I know we talked about this when we met, promote standardized truck designs to streamline production. That's great, but in New England, a lot of older fire stations, and we still have like our engine 2, the doors are only so big. So the trucks have to be customized for a lot of players. And they had an issue in Andover a couple of years ago where the truck was delivered too high. Trucks have to be customized because they're older stations, smaller doors. I just saw the chief from Haverhill. Their stations go back to the 1860s. So guess what? The trucks are customized. They're smaller. Next slide. This is a mock-up of our command vehicle. And not only apparatus are delayed. This was approved and acquired last year. We still do not have this in service. We do have the vehicle, but there was a delay in getting the vehicle. And then we have to get it fit up with equipment, lights, radio. So, and I know the police chief had this same issue with his truck purchase. So it's not just apparatus. We're starting to see it on this side, the staff vehicle side. Next
So who
slide.
does the fit up?
What's that?
Who does the fit up?
So we do have different vendors that do it. So we're using a vendor now out in Atkinson to do it based on recommendation. I think the police department use them. But still, it's not necessarily the vendor, it's just getting the parts. So when they get it, they're very good with getting them installed. But it's, our radio is like, Cybercom. So we use different vendors for different parts of building that vehicle out. So, look at our staff vehicles. We did receive approval. My thanks to the capital committee for the replacement of 2 staff vehicles. Still have to go before the spring town meeting for approval. And next slide, please. That's a look at the heavy rescue truck that we purchased with opera funds back in 2022 with over $853,000. Take a look, next slide, please. Finally, apparatus, again, we are still waiting for that delivery of the 2024 truck that the manager signed the contract. Again, it says 2027. We are hopeful that we get it. We're pushing to keep it on that 3-year schedule. And in the next couple of years, we'll be looking to replace some other items on there, the brush truck. But the big one that stands out there is obviously the ladder truck. And I will answer any questions you may have.
Looks like that ladder truck may be starting the process next year for capital. If it's replaced, is that
Well, the
replaced?
brush truck is up for 28, the ladder truck will be 29.
Ladder truck will be
Yeah,
29.
yeah.
And the problem is, even though it takes 3 years to get them, you can't just like order them now because they want payment as they're making.
Yes, of course, yeah,
Right.
That's the problem.
yeah. That has to be put in the capital plan, has to be approved, has to be voted on at town meeting, funds have to be available after town meeting, and then you place the order, and then they can have the funds. If you can't even get the funds until the start of the next fiscal year.
Yeah, and then you pay them, as they're being doing the vehicle, you're making progress payments.
Of course.
So they built in escalators now, like if, hey, there's a delay, so we thought it was this, it's, I mean, that's something we saw for the first time this last contract.
Who manages that? When you've got stuff on order, who's on top of it? Do you do that?
Yeah, we get progress reports,
You go down and see.
and we'll actually, we actually do an acceptance test. We'll physically go down there, run the truck through tests, usually, whether the deputy, some members, the mechanic, and they'll do an acceptance test of the vehicle before it's brought back here.
Yeah.
So,
Any questions? Any other questions?
I know that, we haven't asked this all the time, but sometimes, we always like to ask about other things that, isn't funded, right? Because I know budgets are tight. If there's anything else that you can think of that would be beneficial.
I might be able to think.
Yeah.
Well, I would just probably echo what the manager probably had in his
Yeah.
budget about the reasonable request for staffing. I know we're not in a place for that now, but if things improve, certainly it'd be nice to revisit that. I also would like to point out too, I know Chief Spence is retiring. Sometimes we do our presentations on the same night. I know he's not here, so he's been a great public safety partner, a good friend, so I do wish him well. So I do want to get that out there.
We'll be meeting with him on Monday, and then he'll be coming in sometime the next couple of weeks. Any other questions? All right.
I
Thank you,
just wanted
Chief.
to say.
Thank you.
I saw in the paper that in the aftermath of the fire at Trailer Park, that,
Oh, the program, yes, Get Along program, yes. So they had a successful, thank you for bringing it up. So, first of all, my thanks to the Deputy Hool and the union for really working together to make that happen. I mean, the union went out and solicited donations to purchase all these detectors. We got some donations as well, but just to physically go out there and put them up. But the recent issue we had was a fire, electrical fire. And when does it happen? When people sleeping at night. Detectors that were installed by our members alerted the people. They got up. They actually started to put the fire out. But they didn't have any detectors prior to that. So we probably have about a quarter to a third of the people have signed up. I think that story will probably get a few more. So my thanks to them for, working together to get that done. We know where our issues are. Like I said, we had 2 fires there this past year, the double fatality in October, probably 3 fatalities over the past 5 years in the trailer park. So we are really trying to work to make a difference there.
Are they in engine 1 area, or are they in engine 3 area?
That is actually Engine 5's area.
Engine 5 area,
Engine
okay.
5's area.
And 5 will be running out of,
Engine 1, but when I started, Engine 1 used to cover that.
okay.
So that was that discussion we had about balancing of calls for the districts. So when I started back in the day, that was Engine 1. But to balance the calls, we expanded Engine 5's map a little bit.
Okay.
So there won't be a delay for
There'll be-
Engine
that
5
was
going
where
there.
I
So,
was going, yeah.
yeah.
There won't be a delay because they'll
No.
both, and to clarify, as you said in our meeting, engine 5, engine 1 will be running out of engine 1.
Fire
but-
headquarters, yep.
But they'll be running their areas. They won't,
There's going to be some modifications.
Some modifications.
They have to be,
Yeah, yeah.
because there's going to be, because now you've got Engine 3 up at Engine 2's headquarters, so there'll be some modifications to the map. So we're not going to probably have engines, like the Galloway single foot, we may have to splinter that to Engine 5. Well, we're going to look at the map, we're going to look at the calls as they come in, and we'll adjust as we need to.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Moving right along, we have a presentation, review, and discussion of fiscal year 27 Chelmsford School District. With us this evening, we have Dr. Jay Lang, their superintendent. We also in the audience, we have our business manager, Joanna Johnson Collins, and our Chelmsford School Committee Chair, Dennis King.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Appreciate it. And
I do
proud
have the
to-
presentation you sent over.
Yeah, just for the viewing, if you want to, I can just touch base on a couple of the slides. And I'm happy to report that we don't need any fire apparatus in the school department. That will certainly help. But no, as way of background, I was able to meet with the subcommittee this past Monday. We were able to meet remotely to review the school department budget. And then the school committee had our budget hearing Tuesday evening. So we went through the budget as well. And the school committee did vote to endorse and approve the budget to move forward. The budget before you this evening, just before we get into fiscal 27, we had talked when we had tri-board earlier in December. Fiscal 26 is looking good. We have no concerns with both the local budget or any of the grant funds or revolving funds in fiscal 26 that could potentially impact fiscal 27. And we're also fortunate that we have all of our collective bargaining agreements are in place for the current year as well as next year. So we had a very good bargaining cycle last spring with our major employee unions. We have one that we're just in the process of beginning now, our custodians. We have a small 9 or 10 unit group, but we'll have that one negotiated now. But the bigger ones, the teachers, the paras, the administrators, they're set for the next 3 years. So that helps us when we're putting our budgets together. Our budgeting process begins in October. We meet with each of the individual schools and departments and talk about their current staffing, their personnel, their non-personnel items, some of the different strategic plan goals that they're working on and how the budget is aligned to them. And then we ultimately formulate a recommendation for the school committee. The budget before you this evening, we worked closely with Town Manager Cohen just on the recommendation. It's kind of a no-frills level service budget for the school department. It contains funding for all the personnel and non-personnel items and programs and services that we provide during the current fiscal year, basically just at next year's costs. So salaries, you know what we can do, Chair Clancy? We don't need to necessarily go through all those charts because I reviewed those previously.
Okay.
These are basically just the kind of how Chelmsford stacks up against comparable districts and whatnot. And if we just slide to this one. So again, the budget before you this evening is a $2.5 million increase. It covers all of our personnel costs and our non-personnel costs. We did obviously on the non-personnel costs had some contracts that had accelerators in them for fiscal 27, so that's been accounted for. We also do have a limited number of retirements this year in the school department, and we always try to account for that savings that you see between the individual retiring and a new person coming in. We've historically budgeted those at Master Step 3, and that's accounted for a little bit of savings, again, which is included in the budget. And it also makes us able to hire and attract good quality candidates coming into the district. And I do have to say, with regard to kind of Chelmsford and the way that we do the budget process, we're actually one of the districts that's able to get out very quickly and do our hiring. I believe we have 9 openings for the fall, so we don't have a lot of openings, but we want to make sure that we're getting great pools of candidates. So we're actually going to start our hiring process next Monday. So we're going to be out and likely we'll be fully staffed before April break, which is wonderful. So that's when a lot of other districts are just beginning theirs. So our budgeting cycle actually works very well for us. On the next slide, again, we really have just maintained all of the costs. We do every other year. We take a look at our substitute costs because day-to-day substitute teachers, paras, secretaries, long-term substitutes if we have to hire a teacher because someone is going out, say, on a leave of absence for maternity leave or some type of a health leave. We want to make sure that we're attracting good candidates for those jobs as well. So biannually, we do a review of all the greater Merrimack Valley districts to make sure that our rates are comparable and competitive. And we're in the top third of our rates on that respect. So we didn't have to make any adjustments to that this year. The last four bullets I just point out because when we had met earlier in November and December for Tri-Board, we were looking at about a $3.5 million level service budget at that point in time. And we had a couple of things that worked in our favor as the budget was being refined. So, technically it would still be about a $3.5 million increase. However, which doesn't typically happen. We actually are budgeting and anticipating a $425,000 reduction in special education out-of-district tuition. We actually just have a couple of very expensive residential placements that are aging out. So students under those programs are with us until they're 22. So late spring, summer, they're going to be aging out, so we can actually assume the savings for those. And we're actually seeing also kind of net benefit to us, a little bit of an increase in circuit breaker reimbursement for some of those claims of fiscal '27. Valley Collaborative, which is our member collaborative, has been doing very well program-wise and revenue-wise, and by statute, they were only allowed at the end of a fiscal year to maintain a certain percentage of their budget to kind of roll into like a suspense account that we would have, and any time they go over that, they have to distribute money back to their member districts. So we're going to be anticipated to get about a $300,000 return from Valley, and myself and Joanne on the school committee, Dennis King, who's here tonight, we have been kind of proactive when we put our budget together to list all of those different revenue offsets in the budget document itself, to not carry them separately, but actually to have them baked into the document so that we can actually kind of realize those savings. So in the end, we were able to present a level service budget. Again, all the staff, personnel, services, programs that we're delivering this current year, next year, and still have them all be aligned to our internal strategic planning that we do at the elementary, middle, and high school levels of the district. So, just again, as one last aside, the budget document itself and the format has remained consistent year over year. We've gotten good feedback about that, so it's pretty readable. Has a little narrative section, but then everything crosswalks from the staff salary book back to the category level detail, which the school committee actually went through Tuesday night page by page and asked good questions about what the money is spent for and why it's budgeted where it is. Feeds up to the summary level totals, and that's really within control of the school committee. And if we ever have to do an adjustment or an amendment, we would go to the school committee and they would have to approve or disapprove of that. So the formatting has remained the same. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Just a similar question as to Chief Ryan is, what are your top things that aren't funded out of this year's budget?
I think probably similar to what Chief Ryan would say. One of the things, not only for next year, but I do think over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we are really starting to see that increase in student enrollment in the schools. This year, based on our October 1 number, we're up about 60 students. The increase is going to continue to come at the elementary, which is then going to feed up into the middle school, which is causing us some pressures. So, aside from our presentation this evening, obviously a major focus of ours has been the school building project, which a lot have been paying attention to and obviously very involved with. By way of advertisement, we have our next community forum on Thursday, March 19th at the Elks to try to educate again the community with regard to kind of where that building project is. Between now and May, we're going to be making some pretty critical decisions around the grade level configuration and then ultimately submitting the next phase of paperwork into the MSBA. And between May and October, we'll move into schematic design and cost estimating so that by October, we really will have an actual preferred program. We'll have a budget, and we'll need to come back to the community and really talk about that and then talk about funding, and that'll be a real focus for next year. So I guess my concern, short-term and longer-term, again, next 3, 5, 10 years, is probably going to be staffing, because as you're increasing student enrollment, we've really got to make sure that we're maintaining desirable class sizes at the different grade levels, elementary, middle, and high school. I think over the last 5 years, we've spent a good amount of resources and allocation within the budget, which I completely agree with, trying to build out some in-district special education programming at all levels of the district. And we're seeing those populations in Chelmsford, and we want to make sure that we can well serve them so that they can actually stay and be serviced as part of their school community here. So I think we're going to have to look to potentially, based on numbers, expand some of our autism programming. We're seeing numbers coming up through our CHIPS program, our preschool, that again kind of come to elementary and then middle, and obviously they end up in high school. So we want to make sure that we're, again, just well positioned to be able to serve the needs of those students. And a lot of it on the school side is staffing. It's direct teachers in the classrooms, it's the paraeducators who work with the students in the classrooms to make sure that they can receive the services that they need. It's OT, PT, nursing. So there's a lot of just staff intensive, focus that I would have over the years to come. And I understand, budgets are constraining, but I think when it comes to like our non-personnel items, I think we're very well serviced. I think, the school committee has actually invested each year. We kind of set aside any savings that we develop over the course of the year and do some one-time spending. We've been able to actually make some bigger impacts on the capital that we might not have been able to do under the regular capital program just because of constraints. But if we can actually self-fund some programs ourselves and some of the projects we'd like to get done, it then takes a little bit of the burden off the capital, and as a community, we can get more done. So I think that's something that we'd obviously want to continue with as well. But just being mindful of the increases in students that we're going to see, and there are going to be additional costs, primarily on the staffing side.
Thank you.
Just to speak with the Parker School Building Committee, which you serve on, I serve on, and Dennis King serves on, Joanna Constantine serves on, John Paul in the audience. We've been regularly meeting every month. For people that don't know, the presentation's been made. We're well within the process of presenting to Mass School Building Association. That meeting coming up on the 19th at 7, which may conflict with what we're having here, but we'll discuss that in the next agenda item. I think it's really important for the community to get involved in, to understand what's already gone in, all the work that's already gone into this process, and what the options that we're exploring based upon those discussions and those presentations are, because it's not only building that building, but also addressing the grade configurations and I know the school committee, aside from the Park School Building Committee, has been doing a lot of work with what that education curriculum is going to look like. So my hat's off to that group, because they put a lot of effort into that as well. The school committee, as it's currently composed, it's been a fantastic job doing that. So I think it would anyone watching this would benefit by going to that forum and watching previous forums and going to the website. There's a website for the Parker School Building Committee that shows a lot of the plans and information out there readily available to review.
Yeah, I agree. All the documents that we review in committee, excuse me, and then if you haven't been able to attend one of those meetings, and they kind of feed off each other, all the links are right up on the website. So you can just, at your home and in your leisure, do that. Chelmsford Telemedia has been great as far as really recording everything. They're going to record the next session. It can't be a live broadcast, but they're going to record it, and then we'll get it up to the website within a couple of days. But you can pretty quickly get up to speed on the project. We want community input. We want people to know kind of the why we're looking at the different options, where we're looking at them, because really within the next year, there's going to be some pretty significant decisions to be made. As you indicated, the current school committee has spent a significant amount of time and investment in this. The different members have, even outside of school committee meetings, participated in these subgroups and focus groups. So they're very well attuned to the needs of the current students we have in the district, and I think that long-term vision for where we'd like to see the school project go. So very exciting time. A lot of work's gone into it, but definitely want community input all along the way.
What's the website of the school project?
So if you go to the Chelmsford Public Schools website, and then it's called Parker Middle School Project. It's right in the middle. There's a whole box you just click on, and it brings you right to the site with all of the different documents.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving along, we have a discussion of the budget hearing and springtime meeting warrant article schedule. So let me just bring up the liaison list again. As is updated. So highlighting the yellows, what we had, the presentations we had this evening, and then we have a number of options coming up for the next couple of weeks. One of which Paul emailed me today on. I guess the Zoning Board of Appeals is not meeting next Thursday in this room. And so we may have the availability to meet next Thursday as well, which we don't normally do, to review some of these budgets. I know that the Public Works Director has indicated that she might want to do that next Thursday. but others might be available. So what I would ask is that you reach out to those that have indicated they want to do the 12th. If they'd like to come on the 4th, we could certainly do that. I'm also going to reach out and confirm with Chelmsford Telemedia that they have availability to cover and to record next Thursday as well, because that is a change for them. Because normally we would not normally meet on that evening, but this room is available, so we could meet next Thursday and get a lot more done a little bit quicker. And not stack as many as we have on the 12th, which I know a lot of people have requested the 12th now. If we can kind of divide between the two nights, I know that Neshoba Valley is planning on coming on the 12th. That was one of the first requests I received.
You want me to try to move that?
Well, let's not move let's not move everybody. So let's do this. I'm going to check with Telemedia to see confirm that they are available. I'm sure that they are, but if
Because there's no Board of Appeals meeting that night at all.
at all,
So
okay.
it's not like their staff is somewhere else.
Okay. Oh, well, excellent. Okay, so we will likely have coverage for that night. So I know that the requests for the 12th had been, at least that I'm aware of, is the Neshoba Valley School District, the DPW, was a Veteran Services request the 12th too?
Actually, she would like to come in next week if possible.
Okay, yeah, we can
Yeah.
certainly do that.
Let's do that.
The DPW we could do, if we can keep Neshoba on the 12th. I haven't confirmed with Chief Spence when he's available, but we'll ask both the 4th, the 12th, see what's available. Was it CPF, the Community Preservation Fund?
Yeah, on the 12th.
On the 12th. We'll keep
On the 12th.
We'll keep her on the 12th.
Okay.
And we'll keep Neshoba on the 12th, and if we can move the DPW and a couple others like veterans, and then we'll see when Chief Spence would like to come in. When do you want to present PEG access?
I will do it next week,
Okay, perfect.
because that won't take, it won't take long
Yeah.
at all.
And then I know we talked about the 12th for Planning Board.
They can't come in, I just got a text, he's
He can't-
watching.
he can't
just
come on the
texted me.
4th?
You can't come in on the 4th.
Well, then we'll
Doesn't
leave it
work.
the 12th. That's
Okay.
perfect. Yeah, so we'll have Neshoba Valley, we'll have all the Planning Board articles, and there are a few. And I think
And the-
Kelly Beatty would be presenting his
on the-
that evening as well.
On the 12th, yeah.
Okay. And then the other ones would be, we have the,
Can we move, we've got the finance, can do the 4th.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I'm scheduled, Mr. Chairman, I'm
The
scheduled
fifth?
to meet with Cindy and Anita virtually tomorrow, so I could do the 4th.
okay, yeah, sure. We'll do that. Excellent.
Perfect.
Jim, is
Okay.
it the 4th or the 5th, please?
Fifth.
Is a Thursday.
Is it the 5th?
5th is their Thursday.
5th,
Excuse
okay,
me.
thank you.
Yes, it is the 5th. Thank you.
call.
Good catch.
Yeah. Well, it would have been caught before we sent the agenda out, but yes.
If it's
the 5th of March.
If it's the 12th, it's got to be the 5th.
Yep. So the 5th of March, so we'll say, tentatively, 3-5. We'll say Finance Department, oh,
That's good to get next meeting. That's good.
oh, come on.
Yeah, let's get it done.
Exactly.
We're getting these in a lot earlier than typical. 3-5. Board of Health, do you?
I was gonna put them on the 12th, if we didn't, like, if we could get, wanted to finish by the 12th. She could do either the 12th or the week after.
Let's do 3-12.
Okay.
We'll keep 3-12 for Judy Carvin. Library, have you met with Leslie Kimball yet?
I've been playing telephone tag with
You
our
have.
availability. She did offer next Monday at 5:30, which I can do
Okay.
if we do Zoom. So I just sent that email out while waiting here.
Okay.
So hopefully,
Either or, let me know. I have to know before midday on Tuesday next week is when I have to send the agenda off. So as long as I know before then, we can decide which one works best.
what are her options for showing up?
Well, I mean, we have the 5th, the 12th. We do have the 19th. But if we can shift away from the 19th, where there's a conflict with the Chelmsford School Building
No,
and
so-
the forum.
So hopefully, and her presentation usually doesn't take very long, so it's not like, oh my
Yep,
God.
no, of course. There's that, and then there's just the transfer for restoring cemetery and the Varney School playground accessible equipment, those two items as well. But we're looking for, I'm sorry, the 12th for the planning board, we said?
Yep. All right, so I was gonna say, and then with the presentation on the 5th or the 12th, that would be the
Yep.
best. Okay, so I will hopefully get back, do I get back to you and say, this is
Just
what we're
yeah,
getting?
let me know what works best, and
Okay.
we'll put it in. 3-5. Look at these dates populating. We said next week for telemedia. Property valuation services would be rolled in with finance. We said next week for finance. Okay. All right. And we said 3/12 for Judy. Okay. I will reach out to Brian Latina on the citizen petition to see what night is available for him. 3/12. Okay, we said 3/5 for PEG access. We'll check with Chief Spence on when he wants, and it was, oh, sorry, we said 3/5 for Regina Jackson and Veteran Services. Okay, perfect. Okay, well, we may have our budget reviews done by the 12th.
That'd be great.
Which would be fantastic. We'll take off the 19th and we'll vote the following week. And that way we'll have all our votes done in March,
Whoa.
as opposed to doing them in the last, both the first or the second week in April, which would be fantastic. All right. Okay, well, that sounds good. I'll update this document, I'll circulate it, and then I'll just wait on the final two. I'll check with Chief Spence, I'll check with Brian Latini, you'll check with Leslie Kimball on her availability, and we'll go from there. Excellent. Let me just save this. Okay. So if we do that, we'll be able to start, production of the book and hopefully get the letter out sooner rather than late. I know. You're laughing over there, Pam. It's required the week before. I'll just keep reminding everybody that. This is not a special town meeting which requires 2 weeks. But we'll target for it before then. Any presentations, we'll reach out in the interim, just any additional information we might need, although we pretty much have the information coming in with presentations this year as the presentations coming in. And I think you've been copied on everything as far as materials, except for the one we just had with the school committee, which came in at 6 o'clock, which I'll circulate to everybody.
Yeah, the only stuff I'll need is from John.
Is from John, yeah, perfect. All right. So that covers the schedule. We'll see everybody next week at 6:30 here.
Just an hour?
Well,
Amazing, isn't it?
I can keep talking if you'd like. No, pretty straightforward. This year's pretty straightforward. The next couple weeks will probably be a little bit longer, given the topics we're covering and the amount of material we're covering. But I think all in all, in general, it's been a pretty straightforward year. So I don't see any public comment, and there's no one in the Zoom room. So if that's the case, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second it.
Okay, roll call.
Yeah. Yes. Aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Aye.
Either.
Aye.
Dave?
You betcha.
Elaine? Cindy?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You.